They know who I am, and they know when they feel that fear coming. That's why I told him the first time, you're gonna feel that fear. And he felt that, he knows that Ryan's coming.
Whatever version shows up, if it's any less, that's gonna be for him to answer.
Ryan Garcia expected the fight to reach the 8th round, knowing Barrios would stay resilient but confident in his own ability to finish the job.
9 days out from fight night, high stakes, The Ring magazine. Give us a prediction. What's gonna happen?
A prediction, man. 8, 9, 10.
8, all right.
8, 9, 10.
I think that sounds. I'm going round 8.
I like that. 8, 9, 10.
I think round 8 is.
That feels good.
Feels good, yeah.
Yeah, it feels good for a real fight. We're gonna get to it, and Barrios is one of those guys. He'll get cracked and he'll keep trying to fight. So
Mario Barrios believed a dominant win over Garcia would significantly elevate his career, opening doors to bigger fights and solidifying his status in the welterweight division.
I think I could definitely say that. Like I said, a win, especially one that's very, I go there and make a statement, victory. Like I said, it just continues to line up, those big fights, those unification fights, just those fights. Even if they don't have, a title, it's, I'm still out there, gonna face, the biggest names that they put in front of me.
Barrios planned to use his size and experience to make Garcia uncomfortable. He intended to pressure him in every way and prove that being a full-fledged 147-pounder gave him the edge.
What do you think is the key to fighting a puncher like that?
Just using my skills, my abilities. I know he's trying to like downplay, the like size difference with this, but I think it's gonna be something he's definitely gonna feel, in the fight. And I want to go in there. I want to make him uncomfortable. I want to test how bad he really wants to be in there with me.
Following a question about his apparent indifference to pre-fight theatrics, Barrios made it clear that such antics held no interest for him. He explained that the fight date being set was the only motivation he required, not a back and forth at a press conference. Referring to the energy of his opponent, Ryan Garcia, Barrios acknowledged that Garcia possessed a distinct persona, but he personally could not relate to it. He stated simply that he preferred to do his work quietly and let his performance in the ring do the talking when he finally showed up.
I just don't care for it. Like for me, the fight day is already set. That's the only motivation I need. I don't need, some back and forth at a press conference. I don't need, all these like antics and all this, other stuff that had already happened at the first press conference. So, yeah, I think that's just Ryan. He's not an influencer boxer, but he definitely has that persona. And yeah, that's just him. But I can't relate. Right. I do my work. I just stay quiet, and yeah. And then come fight night, I show up.
Trainer Robert Garcia confirmed that Barrios had brought Goossen into his camp, the same Goossen who once trained Ryan Garcia and knew him inside out. That inside knowledge, he suggested, could be the game changer Barrios needed. Garcia acknowledged that Ryan's speed and power were real threats. If he landed clean, he could hurt Barrios, stop him, and walk away with the title and all the glory. But there was a flip side. If Barrios fought smart, paced himself, and used what Goossen knew to drag Ryan into deep waters, those later rounds could tell a very different story. Either way, Garcia made it clear, this fight had layers, and the outcome would come down to who executed their game plan when it mattered most.
Yes, Barrios working with Goossen, and that could favor Barrios a lot, because Goossen knows Ryan. So it's interesting. If Ryan lands, he's so fast and so strong that if he lands, he's going to hurt him and finish him and become champion and all the love for him and credit for him. But if he doesn't, and if Barrios fights smart, Goossen knows, takes it to the later rounds, Ryan might be in trouble. It's going to be an interesting fight. Interesting.
Ahead of this matchup, Trevor Antonio shared his perspective on the fight, calling it the perfect opportunity for Garcia. He believed Garcia had a genuine chance to win and capture a world title for the first time in his career. Antonio explained that when looking at the other champions in the division, Barrios represented the most favorable setup for Garcia to achieve that goal. He described Barrios as a solid and good fighter, but noted that his power wasn't devastating, and nothing about his overall ability stood out as great. In Antonio's view, Barrios simply wasn't the best champion out there, making this the ideal moment for Garcia to seize the title.
Hey, you know what? I think it's a perfect fight for Ryan. I think when you look at the guys that hold the championships, you can look, I believe he has a chance to win this, bro, and become a world champion for the first time in his career. I think it's the perfect opponent when you look at all the other champions.
Furthermore, Trevor Antonio explained that Ryan Garcia held key advantages in the fight because of his youth, power, and speed, as long as he followed his game plan. He warned that Mario Barrios would not be an easy opponent, pointing to Barrios' fight with Manny Pacquiao as proof that he could adjust and improve, even in defeat. Antonio believed that performance showed Barrios had grown into a stronger, smarter champion. He added that if Barrios entered this fight at his best, he would be difficult for Garcia to beat. At the same time, Antonio noted that Garcia was not coming off his strongest performance either, which meant Barrios needed to start fast and make it clear that taking his title would not be easy.
Ryan Garcia has the advantages in this fight. He's younger, he has the power, he has the speed. He just has to execute. But Barrios ain't gonna lay down. That's why, but when he had that draw with Pacquiao, that showed me, man, that he could still get back to the drawing board and become a better fighter. I think it was any time for him to show some separation, it was against Manny Pacquiao. But we'll see. Maybe the champion come ready to fight and put on his very best performance. And I think he'll need that to beat Ryan Garcia. Now, again, Ryan is not coming in off the best win or the best performance himself. So it'll be important for Mario Barrios to start early and let Ryan Garcia know that it's gonna be a nightmare if he thinks he's gonna take his title.
Examining the matchup through both fighters' tendencies, Showbiz raised concerns for Mario Barrios based on his showing against Manny Pacquiao, where he struggled with speed and appeared hesitant. On the other side, Garcia had also shown his own hesitation against Rolly Romero, who gave him little to counter. Since Barrios was viewed as a steady, pressure-based boxer rather than a patient one, Showbiz believed his style would create openings for Garcia to land counters throughout the fight.
Mario Barrios, when you look at him and you look at him against a Manny Pacquiao, who's not as fast as he once was, and he was countering Mario Barrios. And Mario Barrios' block, you can punch through it. You saw what Abel did, dropping Mario Barrios, just punching through his block. And Mario Barrios against Pacquiao, he seemed to be a little reluctant to me. And it seems as though he was reluctant because of Manny Pacquiao's speed. But if you're going to be a little because of speed, Ryan Garcia may be the fastest puncher in the world. Now with Ryan Garcia, he was himself against Rolly Romero. Rolly Romero wasn't giving Ryan Garcia much to counter. He was very patient and he's a hard hitter. Mario Barrios isn't really a patient fighter. He's just a consistent paced fighter, right? Textbook, bam, bam, boom, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, right? And I think those are going to give Ryan Garcia many opportunities to counter. Here's my prediction. I think Ryan Garcia knocks out Mario Barrios.
From a prediction standpoint, Conor Benn dismissed any skepticism around his prediction, stating with full confidence that Barrios would stop Garcia. He insisted he was completely serious, doubling down that Barrios would get the job done, and Garcia would ultimately fumble the opportunity. Ben made it clear he was putting his money behind Barrios, expressing absolute certainty in the champion coming out on top.
You lot think I'm joking? I bet any money Barrios stops Garcia. I bet you any money. I'm not even joking. Barrios stops Garcia. He's going to fumble the bag, so I need to make my money back on him. Yeah. Barrios, any money stops Garcia. I am 100% confident. Taking bets.
Mario Barrios made it clear that his focus remained fixed on one thing only, preparing as if the very best version of Ryan Garcia on the fight night. He's ignoring any distractions and concentrating on Garcia's best performances to develop his strategy. Barrios believes that if Garcia doesn't perform at his peak, that's Garcia's problem, not his. Barrios is preparing for a tough fight and won't rely on Garcia having a bad night.
I just had to prepare as if, I have a focused Ryan in front of me, as they're saying. And yeah, everything else kind of just is just background noise, Wait to look at Ryan's, at his best performances, when he has looked extraordinary, and just kind of just like picture and then just imagine, that's who we're going to be facing, the best version of Ryan. And whatever version shows up, if it's any less, that's going to be for him to answer.
Greg Hackett gave a balanced breakdown of the matchup, noting that Mario Barrios had been inconsistent at times, often missing moments when he should have pressed the action or adjusted his approach. Even so, Hackett saw the fight as fairly even, with one key advantage leaning toward Barrios, his conditioning and composure. He believed Barrios was more dependable when it came to staying in shape and remaining calm under pressure. Because of that steadiness, Hackett predicted Barrios would edge out a decision victory, likely by being the more disciplined fighter over the full fight.
Barrios isn't the most consistent because he has times where he should step on the gas and he don't do it. Or he has times where he should box and he don't do it. Or he has times where he should fight and he don't do it. You know what I mean? So it's a pretty even matchup. But at the same time, I think Barrios is more consistent than Ryan as far as being in shape, things like that, and keeping his cool. I think Barrios wins the fight.
By decision?
Yeah, 7-5, 8-4.
Moving ahead to former boxer Timothy Bradley's perspective, he warned that Ryan Garcia would have trouble against a fighter like Mario Barrios. He downplayed Garcia's power and instead focused on the weaknesses in his overall game. Bradley described Barrios as tough, disciplined, and technically sound, while pointing out that Garcia struggled on the inside and often lost composure in close exchanges. Against a steady and well-rounded opponent like Barrios, Bradley believed those flaws would become clear during the fight.
I see Ryan having a hard time with just, again, the IQ of Barrios. Say whatever you want to say about him. You know, Barrios is tough, he's gritty, he's solid all the way around. You know, offensively, defensively, he's solid. You know, whereas Ryan Garcia is there's a lot of holes in areas. He's not a good inside fighter. He turns his back on the inside.
Similarly, Mikey Garcia analyzed the matchup by focusing on Ryan Garcia's consistency. He said the fight was difficult to predict because it depended entirely on which version of Ryan showed up on fight night. If the sharp, aggressive Garcia appeared, Mikey believed he had all the tools to win. But if the hesitant version from the Luke Campbell fight returned, Mario Barrios would likely take control. In the end, Mikey still leaned toward Ryan, assuming the right version stepped into the ring.
Mario Barrios versus Ryan Garcia. Who you got in that fight?
Oh man, you know what? Kind of, it's a difficult decision because it depends on what Ryan shows up. If the explosive, fast, and strong Ryan shows up, he's got a really good chance.
He's got it. He's the champion.
However, if
Barrios got the belt,
Mario Barrios uses his experience, which he has, and we see the Ryan that fought Rollies, for example,
right,
then Barrios would win.
Okay, so
it kind of falls on Ryan, which Ryan shows up to fight.
If Ryan's on his game, you got Ryan?
I got Ryan.
As fight night approached, Ryan Garcia's coach, Donnie Murray, emphasized that they were deep in the final stretch of camp, focused entirely on strengthening and conditioning every part of the preparation. The goal, he explained, was simple but critical, making sure Garcia's body felt right and that he entered the ring physically at his strongest. Every session was fine-tuned with purpose, leaving nothing to chance as they put the finishing touches on a grueling training camp.
Today we're here strengthening, conditioning, fine-tuning for the last stretch, make sure that the body feels right and that we are strong. Keep that pace, keep that pace. 30 seconds. Last 30 seconds.
In the final stretch of camp, Ryan Garcia was locked in, sharpening his tools alongside his trainer, snapping combinations on the pads with precision and purpose. Every session was built around more than just power. It was about refining the IQ needed to break down a fighter like Barrios. He moved with confidence, playing with tactics and testing angles, making sure that when fight night arrived, his instincts would be a step ahead of whatever walked through those ropes. The work wasn't just physical, it was mental, and Garcia made it clear he was building something dangerous. And when the final bell rings, only one will be left standing. Ryan Garcia enters with something to prove, chasing the title that has always been just out of reach. Mario Barrios walks in as the champion, armed with knowledge, experience, and the quiet confidence of a man who refuses to be overlooked. The speed of Garcia, the discipline of Barrios, the mind games of Goossen in the corner, the power that can end it all in a single moment. Styles clash, egos collide, and in that ring, somewhere between the 8th round prediction and the champion's will to survive, the truth will will be written. One man leaves with his hand raised, the other leaves asking what went wrong. This isn't just a fight, this is a crossroads. And when the smoke clears, we'll finally know who really belongs at the top. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more fight coverage. And let us know in the comments, who's your pick? Are you riding with Ryan Garcia or backing the champion Mario Barrios? We want to hear your predictions.